And we are back. Welcome back, everybody, to the live stream. This time, we are here for the qualifying session here for the Japanese Grand Prix. I've once again JW97, and he's once again Ra.
Yep, hello everybody.
So we're here for the qualifying session, and as you can see, unlike in practice, we've actually got a dry session for the entirety of qualifying. So no rain for the entirety of qualifying. So I think without further ado, let's get into this. So, Ra, I'm going to ask what your prediction, who you believe will be eliminated in Q1.
Both manners, both passes, and Alpha, and I'm probably gonna say a Williams.
I'm going to say both Manners, both Hasses, a Williams, and an Alpha. So pretty much same as you, really. Leave your predictions, guys, and who you believe will be eliminated in the stream chat. And hello, everybody who's just joined us. Hello, Chris, and hello, Fong Chanak. Of course, Franco Gamba back in the car after he let Lorenzo Tomaselli do testing duties earlier on, but now he's back in the car. And Renault now have the correct livery applied now because they have a special livery for Suzuka. Well, I say special livery, more of a tweak to the side pods. But anyway, Amelia Wilson is going to be the first out on the racetrack because we've got a few cars now out there at this point in time. And I'm not sure if we've got a side pod view at the moment, so we might have to wait until we get out on the racetrack to see what the side pods look like. No, we don't have a side pod view, so we'll have to wait till they get out on the racetrack. So we've got some cars already on the racetrack right now. I think Amelia Wilson was the first one out earlier. There's some of them are already through into the S's, and now we've got a Renault out on track. So we can see the updated side pod that they've got for this, for Suzuka at least, as Byrne is now coming out onto the racetrack. And you may see, just to keep in theme with the fact that we are in Japan, as you can see, we have got a sponsor there. And now I know that Evan is probably going to kill me for pronouncing the series name, so I'm not going to bother even trying that because otherwise he will murder me later on. So yeah, he's got a sponsor on there. I think it's to relate to, I think it's either a video game or a TV show. Again, Evan will kill me if I've got that one wrong. So anyway, let's get to the action then, shall we? Amelia Wilson, as mentioned, is the first one out on track, and she's already at Spoon Curve, and of course, raring to go for her first lap in the manor. So some predictions already in stream chat. We've got Chris who says both Manners, both Haas, and both Alphas. He's saying. Fong Chanet says both Manners, both Manners, both Hasses, and both Williams. Laura said both Manners, both Haas, both Williams, and a crash. Right, thank you, Laura. So as now coming out of the Casio chicane, as Amelia Wilson is now going to start her first flying lap of Q1, and no traffic for her because everybody is now out on the racetrack, as she'll now make her way towards the first corner. So into turn 1 we go then, and into turn 2. As mentioned, for anybody who's just joined us, we're not expecting any rain at all for the entirety of the qualifying session. So dry for all 3 sessions, or for Q1, Q2 and Q3. No rain at all for this, as Wilson now then goes around the S's. Through the right-hander she will go, and now up the hill then towards the double right-hander she will soon now go. So through the left-hander she goes, and now into the double right-hander then goes Amelia Wilson. A 29.271 there for the American. Into the second part of the right-hander now then we go. Just looking at everybody else, a 29.1 for Fraser in the first sector. Only those two at the moment. A 29.4 for Martinez, so Martinez down on Wilson at this point. 29.3 for Videri, so in fact Videri is actually down on Wilson. A 28.7 for Lopez, a 29.0 for Willows, a 28.9 for Roque, as Wilson now then approaches the end of sector 2 very, very soon, which will actually be just before 130R. It's actually quite a short sector 3, it's fair to say, around here at Suzuka. So down the hill then, past the club pit straight then goes Amelia Wilson, and she'll now make her way towards the flat out 130R. Through the crossover bit now then, a 110.839 in the second sector, as she now will get it all slowed down for the Casio chicane through the right, and then into the left-hander, just passing the old Casio chicane. Through the right-hander then goes Amelia Wilson, or I should say the motorcycle 130R, because it still gets used for the Suzuka 8-hour motorcycle race that happens, as Wilson crosses the line, and it's a 1:30.656. Here comes Fraser, he goes faster by 0.165 seconds. Here comes Rosetta Martinez in the manor. Across the line he will go now then, and he goes into third, 6 tenths off. Videri crosses the line, goes into third. Car goes fastest by 1.2 seconds. Here comes Mikolas Gao. Across the line he goes into second, 7 tenths off of Car. Willows crosses the line, he slots to third. Roque crosses the line, he goes into second and gets in front of Mikolas Gao. Dudu Kirby crosses the line, goes into 6th. Evan Byrne crosses the line, 5th place for him. Gomez crosses the line, he slots to 5th. In fact, he gets in front of Byrne, which is surprising. De Rosa crosses the line, goes into only P11 with that lap, so not a very good first lap for Kimishima De Rosa, as Lopez goes into second, 4 tenths off of Armar Carr. Here comes Roberto Gamba in the Ferrari as he tries to enjoy his final 5 races in the OC, and he slots the 4th with that, 6 tenths off of Armar Carr. Jake Galloway in the Renault, he crosses the line and he goes into 11th place, so not a good first lap for both Renaults, it's fair to say. Q-Pot goes 7th as Mottram went into 3rd there, Chatfield went into 10th. Sontag across the line, he will go in the Williams and he goes into 19th. 20th for Griffiths is P6 for Frank Agama, the man who won last time out in Malaysia, slots behind his own cousin as Chung goes only 16th for that lap, so not a very good first lap for Laura Chung, who will of course be moving to Lamborghini next season, as we found out in the news earlier on. But at the moment in the drop zone we have Wilson, Videri, De Rosa, Martinez, Santai and Griffiths. The big shocker there, De Rosa, not a very good first lap there. I don't know if he got held up, and Chung only 16th. Both Renaults of course also not having a very good lap as well, 12th and 15th at the moment.
Yep, same goes for the Williams drivers. Only 21st and 22nd, and pretty much way off Martinez.
Okay, so De Rosa probably made a mistake in the second sector there. But interesting enough, though, both Hasses currently in the top 16. Fraser in 13th and Kirby in 14th. So a very good first run for both Hasses there. But whether they can keep that up is going to be another question, as the Manners are in the pit lane. Amelia Wilson gets wheeled back into the garage. But so far, Mercedes 1-2 with Carr at the top and Lopez in second position.
And they stayed there. That's the question.
Yes, and so far, 6th and 7th so far for the Red Bulls. And, well, I can tell you for a fact that if the result were to stay like that in the race, with the Mercedes 1-2 and the Red Bulls 6th and 7th, Mercedes would actually win their record 6th constructors title that way. But we've still got a long way to go, of course, and we haven't even had the race yet. Anything could happen in that race tomorrow. Whether it will still be dry or whether it will be wet, that's going to be another question, as we wait for Wilson get back out on the track, same with everybody else, because everybody is now in the pit lane, as you can see from the tower on the left hand side of your screens. And so the timing tower, I should say, as we now wait for some more cars to go out on the track to do their second flying lap of Q number 2. And the seconds tick down as the Williams there awkwardly parks quite near the Manor pit lane there, so a bit of an awkward parking there for whichever Williams that is. And so sorry if you can hear any wind in the background. It's actually quite windy today where I am. So
just the winds.
Anyway, but Wilson was about to go out there first, but she had to wait because Kirby's decided to go out first this time by. So Dudu Kirby will be the first out on track for the second runs of Q2. Usually we have one driver that gets left behind, as we know, so we'll have to wait and see who that driver is. None of the bottom 6 want to be that's for sure, and not even Chung and Galloway either. So we'll have to wait and see on that one, as Kirby now then makes his way through the S's, as he will make his way up the hill now then towards the double right-hander. With just over 10.5 minutes to go here in Q1, and I keep saying Q2 for some reason. I do apologise. It's Q1 I meant. Sometimes get the numbers mixed up. I don't know why, but anyway.
Well done, Joe.
Thank you. As now into the hairpin we go. As just going to keep an eye on the left-hand side to see if who's going to be the one to get left behind. The question is, will Kirby get any traffic when he starts his first flying lap? That's going to be a question at the moment. He's currently 14th. Both Hasses, as we mentioned earlier, currently in the top 16, so far doing a good job, but whether they can stay there or not is another question, as Kirby makes his way out of Spoon. Now making his way down the hill before going towards the crossover section at Suzuka. Of course, Suzuka being my favourite track, as some of you may know, it is my favourite track in the world, and so hopefully, and usually it's produced good racing for the OC, so hopefully that's going to be the same this week as well. And it's usually one of those races that goes quite quickly. In fact, it's 53 laps, but the races go very, very quickly. You see it, and it just goes in a flash. But it is Griffiths that's going to be left behind first, so he's probably waiting for the next runs to try and see if he can get himself out of the bottom 6. Kirby has just started his lap. He's just come out of turn 2 now then, as he will now make his way towards the very fast S's. So through the right-hander then goes Dudu. And very easy to understeer through in this part of the track, especially the left-hander that Kirby's coming up to now, because it is quite a deceiving corner. You would think it's flat out, but in actual fact, you have to lift through there. Maybe with these cars it could be flat, but I think in a normal race car you'd have to lift through there. As Kirby finds himself 2 tenths down on his personal best in the first sector as he goes underneath the bridge before making his way up towards the hairpin, the place where Danny Kvyat in real life had his big crash in qualifying back in 2015. Coming out of the hairpin then goes Kirby, as he'll now make his way through right-hander, as in fact there's a little chicane there. In fact the Suzuka 8 Hours actually uses for the motorcycles, along with the old Casio chicane that they still use, whereas F1 obviously use the modern day Casio chicane, and that's obviously the Casio chicane we are using in the OC. Coming out of the spoon curve then, Kirby is going to be approaching the end of the second sector quite soon now. Then let's see what his second sector is like, and he continues to lose time. He's actually nearly 5 tenths down on his personal best in the middle sector there that time by, as Kirby now then enters into the Casio chicane. I'm not expecting him to improve, but let's see. Through the right-hander then goes the Brazilian, and like Roberto Gama, he's trying to enjoy his final 5 races in the OC as a whole, because both of them are of course retiring at the end of the season. Kirby crosses the line, no improvement for him. Here comes Amelia Wilson, across the line she goes, and she remains in 17th. Willows crosses the line, stays in P8. Miklos Gal is on improvement across the line, and he goes fastest by 20 thousandths of a second. So Gal to the top of the timing sheets. Gallery crosses the line, that's a much better improvement. He goes up into 8th. Videri's on improvement, he goes up to 15th, so he pushes Chung into the drop zone in fact. Carr crossed the line, no improvement for him. Daniel Fraser crossed the line, he goes in the hat, and he remains in where is he, 14th position. Here comes George Rope, across the line he goes. He's currently in 5th position, and he stays in 5th for the moment, as Rosetta Martinez comes across the line, currently in 20th and remains in 20th. Motran improves to go up into 4th, so into the top 4 goes the Hungarian, as David Kupok doesn't improve, remains where he is. Evan Byrne goes up to 5th, a big improvement for him, as Franco Gama across the line, no improvement, stays where he is. De Rosa goes up to 3rd, that's a big improvement, and that pushes Kirby now into the drop zone. Roberto Gamba across the line, stays in 8th. Chris Chatfield goes into 11th, gets in front of Willows that time by. Gomez goes 14th, so an improvement there. Chong's on an improvement, and she goes up to 9th, that pushes Videri into the drop zone. Lopez only 4th that time by, so still improved, but not able to get up into the top. Sontag improves, but only into 20th position, so at least one Williams is off the back row of the grid, and that's the second run's actually done in fact. So a lot of improvements there that time by, but this time round, Miklos Gal finds himself at the top of the timing sheets. The man, of course, who took pole last week in Malaysia.
Yep, indeed, and it's very close at the bottom for the elimination zone. By the way, Fraser and Videri have set the same exact time.
Yeah, and it's quite ironic because that's the threshold for the elimination there. So Fraser is still in the top 16 thanks to him setting the time before Videri there. So obviously on the vanilla game it will say that Videri will be above in garage order, but we know that because he set the time first, Fraser is the one actually in 16th, not Videri. The timing tower is the one that doesn't lie. It's the vanilla game that for some reason takes it as the in garage order for some reason, rather than what they do in real life, which is who set the time first. And on this occasion, of course, as you can see, it was Fraser. So that's that really, and they're the second run's done with. Of course, we'll be expecting Griffiths to come out in the third and potentially final run of Q1, and he needs to really, because he's down in last position. The man, of course, who got his first ever podium last time out in Malaysia, along with David Kupok. And Martinez on the back row after Sontag improved to go up into 20th position. Martinez will be reversed back into the garage by his team there, and he'll be able to get back out there for a third and final run potentially, and hope to give himself one more chance to try and get his mana through into Q2 if he can. And so we're going to wait and see then really. But so far then, as we look at the leaderboard so far, not a very good time at the moment for Franco Gama, being down in 10th. The man who won last time out in Malaysia, as Joseph Willows goes out on the racetrack, currently down in 13th position, so he's the first on the track to do his third run of Q1 as he makes his way through into the S's then, and I think these will be the final laps that we're going to see, judging by how much time we've got left, but we will see. But Willow's the only car on the track at the moment as he makes his way through the S's, and now making his way towards double right-hander now then, before making their way through the crossover period of the track. And still Willow's the only car on track. He'll be hoping there's no traffic, but now there's somebody else that's joining him. That's Jamie Griffiths. So Griffiths getting out there to ensure he can give himself a chance to try and get his Williams through into Q2, which he has done for the last 2 races, in fact. No, that's a lie. That's what he did 2 races ago. In fact, Williams did that the last 2 races, it's fair to say. As Willow's now then makes his way towards Spoon Curve. Through the double left-hander he will go. And so now going down the club pit straight, then we'll go Willows as he prepares for his next lap. More cars going out. Gal's on track, Cars on track, Burns on track, as is Rogue, as is Chung, as is Galloway, as is Fraser, Federi and Kirby. So Willows again, will be hoping there's no traffic by the time he gets across the line, because he's currently in 13th and he doesn't want to be in a position where he could get himself eliminated. As Willows now then makes his way down the pit straight. He will now start his third flying lap of Q1. There are some cars on the right hand side, so he could get held up here. Let's have a look as he comes around the first corner. In front of him is a Racing Point, so we'll wait and see. At the moment there's a bit of a gap between himself and the Racing Point, so it might not be too bad for Willows, but we will wait and see as he goes through the S's now then. As now in towards the hairpin he goes now, then going past the Honda banners on the left hand side. Of course, Honda own the Suzuka track. In fact, they were the ones who basically came up with the Suzuka track. So obviously Honda own this racetrack, as obviously Red Bull and AlphaTauri want to put on a show for the Japanese crowd. And Willows finds himself 3 tenths up on his personal best in the first sector, 24 thousandths off of Gal in fact in the first sector, but he'll be hoping he doesn't get caught up behind the Racing Point that's in front of him as they now make their way towards the hairpin. In front of the Racing Point in fact is actually Joseph's teammate Kirishima De Rosa, so that Racing Point currently finding himself in a McLaren sandwich at the moment. Through the long swooping right-hander, this right-hander that goes on for quite a while, it's fair to say, before you then have a little tap of the brakes through into Spoon Curve, or a little lift I should say, as he now makes his way out of the Spoon Curve and heading his way down the hill as he'll be approaching the end of the second sector quite soon. Let's see what Willows' second sector is going to be like as he'll now make his way towards the end of the second sector, and he is 6 tenths up on his personal best and still 900ths off of Gal, so this could be a very good lap for Willows. He could even get himself into the top 3 here if he keeps this up, maybe around where his teammate is. So out of the Casio chicane then goes Willows as he makes his way around the right-hander. Let's see what Joseph Willows can do then in the McLaren. He's going to get some slipstream from the Racing Point, not too much but a little bit. Willows crosses the line and he goes third as expected, 31 thousandths off of Gal in fact, so in fact he's very close to the pole man at the moment. Well, I say pole man, the guy who's currently at the top because this session doesn't count towards pole. Griffiths meanwhile is up on his personal best. Let's see what his second sector is like, and he's way up on his personal best, 1.2 seconds up on his personal best, but will it be enough to get through? We'll have to wait and see. As now going around the Casio chicane, can Griffiths get himself out of the drop zone now then as he makes his way through the long swooping right-hander, the Welshman who got his first ever podium last week in Malaysia. Griffiths across the line he goes. Can he get out of the drop zone? No, he can't. Only 19th, so Griffiths is out. As here comes Miklos Gal, the man at the top. He doesn't improve, says on 129.178. Byrne is not on an improvement, he's currently 7th, but I think he's safe to go through anyway. Through the right-hander then goes the man who was clearly robbed of a victory last week in Malaysia. Byrne now then down the pit straight and across the line goes the Irishman. No improvement for him. Dudu Kirby crosses the line and he doesn't improve. He's out. He remains in 18th position as Kai in fact matched his personal best in the middle sector and improves to do a 129.111 and go back to the top of the timing sheet. Galloway doesn't improve, remains in P12. Fraser crosses the line, no improvement for him as Chung crosses the line, no improvement for her. Rope doesn't improve either. Federi in the drop zone, crosses the line and he goes 16th as Lopez goes fastest by 4 tenths of a second, a 128.702. He's broken to the 1 minute 28, says Lopez. So it's a Mercedes 1-2 again. Franco Gamba only 11th that time by. Roberto Gamba goes into 6th position as now we look at Martinez. Last chance for him to try and get himself out of the drop zone as the Filipino crosses the line and he stays in 22nd, so he's out. Gomez doesn't improve as Motrin goes up into 5th position. Gomez is currently 15th, so he could be safe at the moment. Kupok improves, but only 14th for him at the moment. As here comes Chris Chatfield in the other AlphaTauri, currently 13th, just ahead of his teammate Kupok. Chatfield crosses the line and stays in 13th for the moment. And I think these are the runs done, Web. So we have got our bottom 6 secure then. So Fraser, Kirby, Griffiths, Wilson, Sontag and Martinez are all out then. So both Hasses, both Williamses and both Manners. So both Alfa Romeos, in fact, getting themselves through into Q2 there in 15th and 16th position, Ra.
Yep, indeed. That'd be pretty much important for Gomez. And hopefully he could try and do something in Q2, hopefully a good result can happen for him.
Indeed
And
so.
yeah,
Yep, indeed. Willow's getting good lap in, and Lopez coming out of nowhere to get into the 1 minute 28. It's finished Mercedes 1-2 here in Q1. And we're just going to take a look at the session titles. The checkered flag did come out. Lopez, Carr, and Galli are top three. And your bottom six, to remind you, are Daniel Fraser, Dudu Kirby, Jamie Griffiths, Amelia Wilson, Felix Sontag, and Elizetta Martinez. So we're just going to take a brief pause for the moment, and then we'll be back for Q2. So in the meantime, guys, whilst we're waiting, let us know your predictions on who you believe will be eliminated in Q2. I'll ask you in a minute, Rob. But in the meantime, I'm obviously going to get a photo for Twitter. So just bear with for the moment, guys, as we wait for Q2 to get underway. Very interesting Q1. Will that be the same? Will that be the same in Q2? That's going to be a bit of a question mark there. So, yeah. So, of course, for anybody who's just tuned in, of course, it will be dry for the entirety of qualifying. No rain expected for any session. So, just full-on dry session here at Suzuka, unlike what we got in practice a little bit earlier on, where it was pretty much changeable conditions. Whether that will be the same for the race tomorrow, that's going to be another question. But managed to get the photo I needed. So apologies if I go a bit silent for a moment as I type away on Twitter. So just bear with, guys, and we will be shortly. So yeah, that's that really. And there we go then. So there we go. That's that sorted then for Twitter then, and then we just get ready for Q2 once Yuri gets what he needs to sort out, ready for the session. And so, like I said, guys, whilst we're waiting, just let us know your prediction on who you believe will be eliminated in Q2, as we are trying to find out what the grid is going to look like for tomorrow's Japanese Grand Prix. And will it be as chaotic as what it was last season in Suzuka? That's going to be a question mark. And I think in the case of Yuri, he'll be hoping it's not. But we will see, as we're now going to, as we're about to get underway for Q2 again. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, Ra, what's your prediction on who you believe will be eliminated in Q2?
both are for males. I'm going to say a Ferrari, a AlphaTauri, a Renault, and a Racing Point.
Okay, I'm going to say both Alfa Romeos. I'm going to say both Alpha Towers, as the Suzuka loading thing there does its weird thing that it likes to do. It even did it when I was hosting. But as I was saying, both Alfa Romeos, both Alpha Towers. I'm also going to say a Renault, and I think I'm going to say a. I'm going to say a. I think I'll also go a Ferrari as well. I think I'm going to go bold on that. So, yeah, both Alfa Romeos, both Alpha Tauris, a Ferrari and a Renault. So, speaking of a Ferrari, Laura Chung is going to be the first one out on track for Ferrari. The first one to do a lap for Q2. She makes her way out onto the racetrack, and we've got a prediction already in the stream chat. Fonchanek has said both Alfa Romeos, both Ferraris, an Alpha Tauri and a Renault. So, okay, he's gone both Ferraris on this occasion then, as Chung makes her way through the S's then. Around the right hander then will go the Chinese driver, the future Lamborghini driver, of course, and she was obviously first out in Q1 as well. Not in Q1, it was out in practice. So a bit of a coincidence there, if you ask me. A few more cars have come out onto the track. Both Garmers are out there, both Franco and Roberto. Byrne's out there, Verderi's out there, De Rosa's out there, Chatfield's out there, Carr's out there, Willow's out there, Motrin's out there, Kipok's out there, Gomez out there, Roke out there, Galloway out there, and Gal is out there. So I think there's just a couple more cars that, judging from the mini-map, that are still yet to come out, and then all of them should be out there. So Chung shouldn't get any traffic on her first lap of Q2, so we'll wait and see on that as she makes her way through Spoon Curve. As now making her way down the straight, then she will go. And another prediction, both Alphas, one McLaren, one AlphaTauri, one Ferrari, and a Renault. Yeah, okay, so that's Chris's prediction. As now Chung makes her way towards the Casio chicane through the right, and then into the left-hander she will go. And now making her way through the long, swooping right-hander she will go now then. And now she will start her first flying lap then of Q2, and across the line she will go, as she'll now make her way towards the first corner. And no traffic in front of her as mentioned, so she should be free to do a clean lap here and hopefully not make a mistake in this session. As now going through the S's, then goes Laura Chung. Through the left-hander she goes, and then into the right will go the Chinese driver. Now up the hill towards the left-hander before making her way towards the end of Sector 1 before we get into the crossover period of Suzuka. And she does a 29.465 in the first sector that time by, a 29.001 for Chatfield. And in fact, you can just see in the mirrors, in fact, that Chatfield is actually just behind Chung. Of course, Chatfield is a contender for Ferrari, so probably having a close look to see what he could be driving next season if he ends up getting the Ferrari seat, of course, because there is a little bit of competition surrounding who's going to be Jake Galloway's teammate next season. As Chung now then makes her way towards Spoon Curve. And I wonder if Chatfield's lap is actually being compromised now as a result of being stuck behind Laura Chung at the moment. As now heading down the straight now then, the club pit straight before approaching 130R. So far Chatfield's not interfering in Chung's lap at the moment, as they now make their way towards 130R. 111.126 for Chung in the middle sector, 110.1 for Chatfield in the middle sector, and Chatfield even having a go at Chung into the Casio chicane, so both of them affecting each other in the middle sector there, and Chatfield getting really affected, it's fair to say, through there, because it could have been a promising lap, but now it looks like it won't be, as Chung crosses the line and does a 131, but Chatfield beats it by nearly a second because of the slipstream he got, as Roberto Garma crosses the line, goes into second. In fact, so Chatfield may have not been held up too much as we thought. P2 for Wellows, P1 for Franco Garma, P5 for De Rosa. As now here comes George Roque across the line, he will go, and he goes into 6th position, so another good first lap for Roque. P2 for Motrin, P4 only for Carr. Wonder if Motrin held him up that time by. Videri crosses the line, goes into P8. It's P1 for Gal, so he goes 4 tenths quicker than teammate Gamba. Galloway crosses the line, and he goes into P5. Evan Byrne makes his way across the line himself, and he goes P3 at the moment. David Kupok in the AlphaTauri, he comes across the line, goes into 4th, as Gabriel Gomez now in the Alfa Romeo, he crosses the line, and he goes into 14th, as here comes Franco Lopez coming out of the Casio chicane. I wonder if he's going quicker than Gal. In fact, no, he's not. In fact, he's way off in the middle sector compared to Gal, 6 tenths off, in fact. So this has not been a good lap for Lopez. I wonder if he's made a mistake somewhere, and he goes 3rd fastest, so he may have gained some time back in the 3rd sector. So let's see, did Lopez make a mistake on his lap? Let's see. And yes, he did. He was actually in the S's. It was in the S's, just in the second part of the S's here, look. Yeah, so got a twitch of oversteer and dipped a wheel into the grass there. So we've not seen the best of Franco Lopez so far in this session then. So only P3 for him, thanks to this little mistake then from the championship leader, who's obviously 35 points ahead of Carr going into this race. As, of course, Mercedes, as mentioned earlier, do have a chance, a third chance, third time the charm for Mercedes to try and wrap up a record 6th Constructors title. Of course, they need to score 28 or more points than Red Bull in the race tomorrow if they want to secure the Constructors. But we'll wait and see if that happens. As Chung comes out of Spoon Curve now then, before she makes her way past the club pit straight. Obviously club racers use that pit straight, as Chatfield tries to find a way through on her into 130R. Can he successfully get the move done before they make their way into the pits? And the answer to that is no. Chung just stays in front into Casio, and both of them will peel off into the pits. I wonder if Chatfield will be the first out on track for the second runs of Q2 a little bit later on. But they're all coming out into the pits right now. But what did you make of those first runs overall, Ra?
That's pretty interesting, as most drivers were pretty much compromised on these first runs. And yeah, Lopez, he made a mistake, lost 8 tenths in the first sector, but he was pretty much gaining on Gal in the second and final sector. Of course, it wasn't enough, but he gained a lot in the middle sector and gained a little bit in the final sector, but not much. So the Red Bull is pretty much a match to the Mercedes in the final sector at the moment, but you never know what you're gonna get.
Also to point out as well, George Roque currently in the drop zone at the moment, along with both Ferraris and De Rosa at this point in time. And of course, both Alfa Romeos in the drop zone as well, but not 15th and 16th, as I'm sure a lot of people were anticipating them to be. So we have just over 9 minutes to go here in Q2 as we wait for the next car to go out onto the racetrack. And just over 9 minutes to go, as mentioned, as Gomez now then is in the box himself as we wait for who's going to be first on track. I would anticipate it's either going to be Chung or Chatfield, leaning more towards Chatfield, given how quick he was compared to Chung on that first lap. Probably there's more lap time to find for both Chatfield and Chung in this session, but we'll wait and see. Chatfield currently up in the 7th position, and his teammate Q-Pot, though, currently in 5th. So, in fact, I predicted both AlphaTauris to get eliminated, but so far, both of them are in the top 10. Q-Pot in P5 and Chatfield in P7 at the moment. As mentioned, all 16 cars are now in the pit lane as we wait for the next car to go out, and that's going to be a McLaren, in fact, that's going to be first. So it's neither Chatfield or Chung. It's going to be Joseph Willows who's going to be the first on track for the first runs of Q2. He's currently in the cusp of the top 10 at the moment, only P10 and 12 at the moment for the two McLaren drivers. And it's fair to say, though, in the second half of the season, Willows has definitely showed that he hasn't lost it.
Yeah, indeed. Especially when someone has given some hate on him, but at least that guy has calmed down after he's picked up his results. I think that must be a boost for Joseph Willows, it seems. At least that guy has given him confidence.
Wonder who that guy is. Anyway, as now we're going up towards the hairpin, goes Willows, and there's some more cars who have now come out onto the track. Gal's on track, Q-Puck's on track, as is Galloway. Carr is on track. He needs to because he's down in 9th. He got held up on his first run. Willows is out, as we were looking at him, he's out there. Roberto Garba's on track, Videri on track, Roque on track, Chung on track, and so the cars have now gone out. Willows will be hoping there's no traffic by the time he gets back to the pit straight, and we know what he's capable of. In fact, he ended up finishing in P4 in Q1, as you may remember, as Willows now then goes around 130R. He prepares for his first flying lap of a second flying lap of Q2, I should say. Coming out of Casio, around the right-hander he goes, as all 16 cars are now out on track, so Willows should not get any traffic. It should be a clean lap for the two-time champion, as Willows starts his second flying lap of Q2 as he makes his way through the first two corners. Very quick corners. This is turn 2 a little bit slower than turn 1, but still a medium speed corner nonetheless, as they now go through the S's, through the left, then the right, and then into the left, and there we go, and then into the right will go Willows, and now making his way towards the left-hander, and now towards the what was I going to say? The crossover bit, as Willows is way up on his personal best, 4 tenths up on his personal best, 89 thousandths off of Gal in the first sector there as he comes towards the hairpin now. Then into the left-hander he will go as he flicks the car in. As we've got a yellow flag. In the S's, that is Gal. Gal's had a crash. And Miklos Gal, who's currently at the top of the standings at the moment, has had a crash up in the S's section. There is a tyre on the track. Hopefully nobody clips it. Luckily, no one did, as the tyre safely crossed the road, as it said. Why did the chicken cross the road? Or in this case, why did the racing tyre cross the road? And if you can see, a bit of understeer there for Gal, and then it just continued on, and he waxed the wall, losing both of his tyres. So he will need to climb back into the T-car if he wants to do a second run in Q2.
I think he dipped on the grass on the previous corner before he went off as well, and pretty much caused him to have a lot more oversteer than we usually thought and sent him to the wall.
Indeed so, but not exactly ideal for Gal. Of course, he is at the top of the timing sheets, but like I said, not really ideal for Miklos Gal. Of course, he is moving to AlphaTauri next season, hoping to turn the team around next season when he joins them. And so obviously he's trying to enjoy his final 5 races in the team. As we just saw a purple sector for, I think one of the Mercedes is there in the first sector. I do believe it was Lopez, but he has got some traffic in front of him, so that might interfere with him. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Here comes Joseph Willows now into the middle sector, 2 tenths down on Gal, but nearly a second quicker than his personal best in the middle sector. So this is a big improvement for Willows coming up, as long as he doesn't make a mistake going around the Castle chicane. So no such mistake for the two-time champion, unlike what we saw from the 2009 champion, who ironically won that championship at this circuit all those seasons ago. As Willows now then crosses the line, where's he going to place himself? And he goes into second. So a good time there for Willows. 3 tenths off of Gal. As here comes Jake Galloway in the Renault, currently in P9 at the moment, but so far not looking at an improvement is Jake Galloway, as he now makes his way through the right-hander now then, and across the line then will go Jake Galloway, the Chinese Grand Prix winner. Can he find some time in the last sector? And no, he can't. Only just not able to improve. Car's improving, and he goes well. So that's the same time as Gal, in fact. The same time as Gal, in fact. He does also a 1:29.139, but Gal's still at the top because, of course, he set the time first. Roke's still in the drop zone. Still only P11 for George Roke at the moment. Laura Chung across the line. She's on improvement. She needs to improve, and she's only 11th as well. She's still in the drop zone. Roberto Gamba, he's also still in the drop zone. Only P11 for him at the moment. So here comes Federi, no improvement for him. Chatfield across the line, he improves and goes above his teammate into 7th. Franco Gamba, he's not on improvement. Across the line he goes, and he does not improve, remains in P4 at the moment. But here's Lopez, he was purple in the first sector, but has not been able to continue because he did have traffic. Across the line, and he goes fastest, but only by 16 thousandths of a second. So 1:29.123 for Lopez. Mottram across the line, goes into 4th, gets above Willows that time by. Here comes DeRosa, he's currently in the drop zone. Can he push Galloway into the drop zone? DeRosa crosses the line, and no, he can't. Only 12th for him at the moment. He goes above Chung at the moment, currently in a Ferrari sandwich. Here comes Gabriel Gomez across the line. He will go, and he does not improve, remains in 16th. Byrne doesn't improve, stays in P7 for the moment, and they are the second runs done with. No, in fact, not, because Gal's gone back out on the racetrack. Gal's just gone back out on the racetrack, so he's going to be setting his second lap very, very soon. Of course, he's got back into the T car, so could he potentially try and get back to the top of the timing sheet and get himself back in front of Lopez? We'll have to wait and see on that, as he will now approach Spoon Curve. So through into Spoon Curve, then we'll go the Hungarian. He's now going out the second part of Spoon Curve, then goes to 2009.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Obviously, that's still being trialled at the moment, but maybe something in the future we could see in the OC where spare cars don't become a thing, seeing as that was discovered by Flo recently. Here comes Miklos Gal now then, as he makes his way towards the Casio chicane through the right, and then into the left-hander he will go. As now through the right-hander goes the Hungarian. Let's see what Miklos Gal can do now then, as he will start his next flying lap, and hopefully this time no mistakes or crashes for the Hungarian. As he makes his way towards the first 2 turns, he will get a clean lap in. So through into the first 2 corners then goes Miklos Gal, and now coming out of turn 2 then, as he uses the curve on the outside before making his way towards the S's. So through the left and then into the right-hander he goes before making his way into the next section of corners. So through the left-hander he goes, and then into the right, and now up towards the left-hander, which is quite deceiving in another car because you think it's flat out, but it's not in a normal car, maybe in these cars, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's see what his first sector is like, and he's down on his personal best by 0.3 of a second, so doesn't look like the Gal is on a better lap. It looks like he may have found his match so far, so far not looking at an improvement there for Miklos Gal as he makes his way through into the hairpin. Will any of the other cars get out on track before the 1:29 threshold, which is probably what they need to do in order to try and give themselves another chance to go through into Q2, especially the bottom 6 that I'm talking about. As Gal now then goes through into the Spoon Curve, his car is on track now then, so Amar Kar, who's on the same time as Gal at the moment, has gone back out onto the racetrack. Of course, the vanilla game will say Car will be in second, but of course, because like I said, they take it in garage order, but because we do it in who set the time first, it's obviously Gal who's in second place, as Miklos Gal now then comes towards the Casio chicane through the right, and then into the left-hander we go, and now through the right goes the Hungarian, and let's see if he can find a miracle in the last sector. I doubt it, but let's see. Gal down the pit straight, and across the line will go the 2009 champion, and he doesn't improve, stays in second place for the moment. We've got some more movement in the pit lane as Car is on track, as I'm looking around, as Chung, Roke and Federi are on track. Roberto Gamba is not. So I think Roberto Gamba, DeRosa and Gomez could be out. Roberto's just gone out onto the track, but we'll have to wait and see if it's a bit too late for him. I think it is. So I think Roberto Gamba, DeRosa and Gomez are out. Yeah, DeRosa and Gomez definitely are, because they have not come out on track. Well, in the case of DeRosa, he has now, but way too late. Roberto Gamba, it could be tight, but I highly doubt it. So I think Roberto Gamba is out. Chung, Roke and Federi, though, they've given themselves one more chance to try and get themselves through into Q2. Here comes Armar Carr now then, as he'll be starting his final flying lap as he approaches the Casio chicane through the right and then into the left-handed we go. So through the right then goes Armar Carr, as he will now make his way down the pit straight, and across the line will go the Mercedes driver as he starts his final flying lap now. No traffic on the right hand side, so it's going to be a clean lap then for the championship contender. Into turn 2 then he goes, getting the car in, using a lot of the curb on the outside as now they make their way through the S's, through the left, then into the right, and then into the left hander, then we'll go Armar Carr, and then into the right hander we go. Out up the hill he will go. Let's see what his sector times is like compared to his teammate, as now through the left hander goes Armar Carr. Let's see what his first sector is like compared to his teammate, and he's 1/10 down, and he's still down on his personal best by 2/10. So yeah, it's fair to say, in fact, I think looking at their best times at the moment, it's fair to say that Carr had a stronger first sector than what Lopez did in his overall lap. So Lopez clearly gaining his time in the last 2 sectors of his flying lap. So bit of an interesting thought there. As Carr now then goes around the right-hander before making his way towards Spoon Curve to the left, and then into the second part of Spoon. Let's see what Carr can do as he now makes his way down the club pit straight now then. Let's see what his second sector is going to be like, as now heading towards Spoon Curve. Obviously the checkered flag is now out, so that's the end of Q2, and nope, he's not improving. He's 4/10 down on his personal best, so I think Carr is going to stay in P3 as he now makes his way through Casio through the right, and then into the left-hander we go, using the curb on the outside. Through the right-hander we go, heading his way down the pit straight, and across the line will go Armar Carr. Can he perform some miracle in the last sector? I doubt it. Carr across the line, no improvement, stays where he is. Wellows across the line and stays in P5. Galloway comes around the right-hander. He's in the cusp of the top 10 at the moment is Galloway. He now comes down the pit straight, and across the line will go the Chinese Grand Prix winner, and he does not improve, so he's praying that he's done enough to stay in there. Roke is on, improving across the line, and he goes up to 7th, so Galloway is out. Galloway is out in Q2 as Roke has got up into 7th. Chung, meanwhile, is on improvement. Could she push Kupok into the drop zone? No, Chung is out. Chung only goes into 12th, gets above Roberto Gamba. But Derry, one last chance for him to get himself through into Q2. It looks like he's not at the moment because he's down on his personal best. But Derry across the line, no improvement, stays in 15th, so Derry is out. Kupok, he's coming down the pit straight. Across the line he will go. He's currently in 10th in the cusp of the top 10. I'm not sure if Roberto had enough time to do a lap, and no, he didn't. So Roberto Gamba is officially out. And there you have it then. That's the session done with, and well, Lopez at the top with Carr in 2nd and Gal in 3rd, and your bottom 6 as a result are Jake Galloway, Laura Chong, Roberto Gamba, Kirishima De Rosa, Andre Videri, and Gabriel Gomez. So what do you make of that session, Ra?
Pretty interesting session, and Galloway getting knocked out at the end, and Videri actually did a decent lap getting into the 1-3 as well. Gomez failed to get in the 1-3s. He did the 1-3, 1-2. So yeah, Federi still has it, but Gomez pretty much let himself down in qualifying.
Indeed, and both Ferraris eliminated in Q2, Ra.
Pretty much the first time, I think, for them this season, I believe.
I think it has happened already this season, but I think it has been a while since it's happened for them. But yeah, clearly the Ferraris are struggling around here at Suzuka. So just give it a moment, guys. We'll be getting Q3 underway in just a moment. Yuri obviously needs to sort everything out before that session can start. And in the meantime, I'm going to get the tweet sorted out for Twitter as usual. But we should be hopefully in for an interesting Q3. So in the meantime, guys, let us know your prediction on who you believe will take pole position for tomorrow's Japanese Grand Prix. And I'll ask your prediction in just a little bit, Ra, when the session gets underway. So, yeah, so just give a moment, guys, and we'll get the session underway as soon as possible, as I've just realised that I've kind of done the photograph a little bit wrong there. So apologies there. Let me get that corrected. So yeah, so it should be an interesting Q3, and hopefully could be quite a close one as well. Only 16,000 separating the top 3 in the end, with 2 of them setting the same time, of course, that being Gal and Carr. So that's that really. I think I said Carr and Gal as the top 3, but that was a mistake on my end. It's Gal and Carr. That's because the vanilla game, as mentioned, usually takes it from garage order rather than who set the time first. And obviously Gal set the time before Carr did. So yeah, I don't know why it does that. You have to ask Jeff Crammond or Microprose if you can get a chance. So that's that really. So anyway.
Peeking now. Nice prediction.
We've now got the stream back up, and we'll get Q3 on the way very soon. I just need to get this tweet sorted.
This is not 2019. Of course, no rain. And who I'm predicting for pole will be, they never go. Franco Lopez.
Hang on. Don't jump your gun yet. Anyway, just getting this sorted. Hang on. Galloway, Argamba,
What?
De Rosa, Vaderi, and of course it was Gomez. Right, there you go. Tweet sorted, so we can get underway then for Q3. So, what's your prediction then, Ra?
Lopez.
Yeah, same here, Franco Lopez. Let's see what everybody else's is. We've got Dennis has said Franco Lopez for pole. Fonchanek has said Amar Carr for pole. Chris has said Nicolas Gal for pole. Lee Bailey has said me for pole. Joseph Willows. Okay. David Cupot for pole, Rob says, because why not? So some very interesting predictions there. So that's that really. And David Cupot being caught off guard there by Rob's prediction. So anyway, we've got some cars on the track now then. Gal is on track first. Byrne on track first. Is out there as is Chatfield, Lopez and Cupot. So 5 cars out on track, make that 6 now because somebody else has joined them. But Gal, of course, who took pole last time out in Malaysia, looking to see if he can make it 2 pole positions in a row. But so far, it seems that Lopez has been the benchmark so far across the sessions. Whether that will continue into Q3, we'll have to wait and see as Gal comes out of the double right-hander. He came out of the bridge as he'll make his way up towards the hairpin. So through the left-hander we'll go then, as he will now make his way towards the long, swooping right-hander. And now Gal will approach the spoon curve then, the double left-hander spoon. And now into spoon curve we go. And into the second part of spoon we will go now then, as he'll make his way down towards the club pit straight. And I think, yeah, all 10 cars are now out on the racetrack, as you can see on the left-hand side. So Gal shouldn't get any traffic at all in his first one of Q3. Out of 130R he goes, and now making his way towards the Casio chicane through the right. And then into the left-hander he goes, using the curb on the outside. Now through the right-hander he goes. And Gal will start his first flying lap very, very soon, as he's now going to cross the line now then. So Gal starts his first flying lap right now then, as he goes into the first 2 corners then. Very quick sequence of corners. And other drivers have now started their first flying laps as well. Through into the S's, then goes Gal through the left, and then into the right, and then into the left-hander. Then we'll go Nicolas Gal before making his way through the long swooping right-hander, and then up the hill he will go then towards the left-hander he goes then, just missing the curb on the outside there before making his way towards the double right-hander, as he does a 28.776 in the first sector there, does Gal, as he now goes underneath the bridge, as he'll now go up towards the hairpin. 28.9, does that say 9? Yeah, 9 for Byrne, 29.3 for Chatfield, so not on pace there compared to those two. 29.3 also for Cupot, 28.7 for Lopez, so he's only slightly up on Gal in the first sector there, as now Gal will approach spoon curve now then. Through into the left-hander he goes, the double left-hander. Now coming around the section of corners, 28.956 for Roke in the first sector there, as now Gal will approach the end of sector 2, 28.855 for Franco Gamba there. Carr did a 28.501, so looking at Lopez, he's actually up in the first sector, his car. A 109.696 for Gal there, only a 110 for Byrne there, and only a 1 minute 10.9 for Chatfield as well. Gal now then comes down the pit straight. Let's see what the benchmark time is going to be for the Hungarian, as he crosses the line to do a 129.303. Evan Byrne crosses the line and goes into second, 4 tenths off. Here comes Chris Chatfield in the Alpha Tauri, crossing the line he will go, and he goes into third. Cupot slots to third as well, so over a second are the 2 Alpha Tauris, as Lopez goes fastest by 3 tenths of a second at 129.001. We need to keep an eye on Carr though as well, because he was going quick. Willows goes into 4th. Roke, where is he going to place himself? Willow's actually over a second behind Lopez, but he usually does well on his second laps, as we saw in both Q1 and Q2. Roke crosses the line and he goes into 4th. Carr goes fastest by 6 tenths of a second at .359 for Carr. Gone because of the line, he slots to 4th, gets behind his teammate there, as Motrin is the last one to do a lap, as he'll now make his way towards 130R. Frankie Garma, in fact, over a second behind Carr overall, and 1.1 off in the middle sector for Motrin there, so not a very good middle sector for the Hungarian, as he now makes his way through the Casio chicane, through the right, and then into the left-hander, as he'll now make his way through the long swooping right-hander then, as he'll now come down the pit straight, and where's Motrin going to place himself? Across the line then goes the Hungarian, and he goes into 7th place behind his teammate, only 6th and 7th for the racing points. But at the moment, it is a Mercedes 1-2, but it's Carr at the top instead of Lopez, Ra.
Yeah, Carl pretty much smashed it. He was up by 2 tenths in the first sector. And again, I think more time in the middle and final sector, pretty much 2 tenths again in both sectors. We don't know about that one, but yeah, he completely smashed it.
Indeed, it's 128.359 there for him indeed, and I think that's actually the quickest time we've seen across both sessions. Yes, it is. It is the quickest time we have seen, because Lopez did a 128.7 in Q1, and Lopez did a 129 in Q2, of course. So that's obviously the quickest we've seen today so far, as Evan Byrne will be rolled back into his garage. Currently in 5th place at the moment, so far in a good position is Evan Byrne, but he's best of the rest, you could say, out of the teams that are outside Mercedes and Red Bull, as it's currently 1-2 for Mercedes and 3-4 for Red Bull at the moment, as Chatfield will get wheeled back into the garage. As we wait for the second runs, as whoa, nice. That was a bit of a drift there for Q-Park. It looks like he's also made some contact with George Roke as well, so a bit of a weird there, as the AI do their usual thing of going through people's garages before coming to a complete stop. So yeah, a bit of action there, as both of them try to out-drag each other towards the end of the pit lane there.
He went on the other side.
Both of them have transitioned onto the other side. And
safety car.
Past the safety car, they should come to a stop quite soon. We have seen this in the past in qualifying as well, with drivers stopping around that point. Yeah, a weird one if you ask me, but that's that. In fact, the marshal has come out as well, as Roke is still trundling down the pit lane at the moment. So will he come to a fresh stop? He needs to come to a stop quite soon, because he's near the end of the pit lane. I'm pretty sure the marshal will try and tow him out as well. So yeah, bit of a weird one
this
there.
This will take long.
Renault is coming up behind there. That's Evan Byrne, as he's waiting for Roke to just pull to the right-hand side there, and which he will do very soon, as Byrne has now released himself. Yep, so there's now a bit of a gap, as I think Roke is still trundling at the moment. So that bit of contact definitely affecting Roke at the moment, as Byrne now goes out onto the racetrack, but he's got a huge queue of cars right behind him, one of them being Willows and the other one being one of the Red Bulls. I think that Red Bull being Mikos Gal. It is Gal, because it's the Verstappen helmet. So yeah, so a bit of a queue of cars here. So these two might have their laps compromised in Q2 as a result of the Roke Q-Pop contact in the pit lane there. So that's that really, and it's even saying that Roke's not even in the pit lane as a result. So yeah, that's that really on the left-hand side there. So yeah, as now we look at Byrne, who's just going to make his way up towards the hairpin. Through the left-hander we go, and Willows will be wanting to dispose of Evan pretty soon if he can, to try and see if he can get a clean lap in. And same goes for Gao, really, but I think their laps are going to get compromised, personally, as they now make their way towards Spoon.
I think a Mercedes will get compromised by one of the AlphaTauris.
Have to wait and see, of course, as now they make their way. As Roke is now finally in the pit lane, it seems they finally managed to retrieve his car, as you can see on the left-hand side. Willows, will they get through past Byrne into 130R? Byrne says no to that, so Willows may get compromised on his lap here. As Byrne now then goes around the Casio chicane, as he will start his second flying lap of Q number 3. Currently in 5th position at the moment, as he'll now start his lap. Same for Willows and same for Gal behind. They've now started their laps. And ironically, Q-Pock is the one who's still waiting to be pulled back into the garage at the moment. Well, not pulled back into the garage, still waiting to get back onto the track. So as Byrne now then goes around the S's. Same with Roke as well, as now going around the right-hander. Willow's getting very close up to the back of Byrne at the moment. So through the left-hander we go. As now come up towards the double right-hander. Willow's trying to have a go at Burn into the right-hander, but it's not going to quite work out. And Willow's lap has been compromised because he was up by 4 tenths in the first sector there as a result. So that lap has gone down the toilet for Willows, as both Q-Pock and Roke now find themselves back out onto the racetrack. As Burn now then just goes out of the hairpin and now making his way through the right-hander. And he's currently down on his personal best as mentioned in the first sector. So now heading towards Spoon Curve. Then into the left-hander we go, and then into the second part of Spoon, then we'll go Burn. Making their way down the club pit straight now then. As Gal, I'm not sure what he's doing. I didn't quite see that. It kind of went in a flash of an eye there. Burn, let's see what his second sector is like. He's 1/10 down on his personal best, and now Willows finds himself 1/10 down because of that hold-up, which is a bit of a shame, really. I would have liked to have seen what Willows could have done if he wasn't held up there, but it is what it is. As Burn now then comes down the pit straight. Maybe he'll get one more lap before the session comes to a close. Same with Burn and Gal, we'll see. Burn now then comes across the line, and where does he place himself? And he stays in 5th. Willows does find some improvement, but only into P8. Gal didn't improve, remains in 3rd. Chatfield's on improving, and he goes 9th, so he stays where he is, but improves on his lap time. Lopez is not up on his personal best, in fact.
He lost a lot of time.
He lost a lot of time in the middle sector. I wonder if he's made another mistake somewhere, because he's 1.2 off of Carr overall on that time there, as Roke's just starting his lap. Carr not up on his personal best either. In fact, it looks like Lopez and Carr have done similar times, in fact, so I don't think it was a mistake, as Carr crosses the line now then in the Mercedes, and he does not improve by over a second as Q-Pock starts his lap, as Garber is up on his personal best. Let's see what his middle sector is like now then, as Garber comes towards the middle sector, and he's 4 tenths up on his personal best, so he could even get up into 3rd if he keeps this up, because he's currently going quicker than what Gal is doing. Into the Casio chicane then goes Franco Gamba, as he'll now make his way through the right-hander now. Then will go the man who won last time out in Malaysia. Franco Gamba goes down the pit straight, and across the line will go the Italian. Can he get up into 3rd? And yes, he can. He's 7 tenths off the Mercedes, but he gets himself in front of Miklos Gal. Motrin up on his current best at the moment. He's currently in 7th. Let's see what the Hungarian can do, as Motrin is going to cross the line. Where can he place himself? And he goes into 4th. He gets in front of his fellow compatriot at the present moment. Those three are coming into the pits. As we now look at Roke, who's currently down on his personal best at the moment, down on his personal best in the first sector by 2 tenths of a second. So it's going to be a bit of a task for him to try and claw that back in the middle sector. So Roke now then comes down the club pit straight, and he is still down on his personal best by 3 tenths. Only lost a tenth in that middle sector compared to his first sector. There is into the Casio chicane now. Then we'll go Joel's Roke through the right, and then into the left-hander he goes, and then into the right-hander now then, as Roke now then comes down the pit straight, and across the line then will go George Roke. And is he going to find a miracle? Nope, he stays in 7th for the meantime, as here comes Q-Pock, who's currently down on his personal best. He's currently in 10th position. Can he find some time in the last sector? Across the line will go the German, and he does not improve, stays in P10 at this point in time. So that's that really. Is going to see if anybody will be doing a 3rd run before the session comes to a close. But Franco Gamba getting above Gal there on that lap, and Motrin also getting above Gal as well at this point in time. And who knows, maybe there is some more lap time to come from Joseph Willows, as we saw in the first sector before he got held up there by Evan Byrne. He'll be looking, if he does come back out, to get a clean lap in, as the Red Bull of Gamba just comes back into the pit lane. As we now wait for anybody else to come back out onto the racetrack. As in fact, a Racing Point is coming into the pits, in fact, not going out at the moment. That's Motrin, who's just come back in. Roke's still trying to get himself back into the pits. I think he might be done. Same with Q-Pock, judging by how much time there is left and how much time you need to prepare a car. And Byrne is going out first again, but it looks like he's got a bit of a gap this time compared to what he had before when he got held up by Roke at the end of the pit lane there. So Byrne will get a comfortable gap this time by. So he's out on the racetrack. Is anybody else going to join him? I would imagine Willows and Gal would, because they were right behind him earlier on. But let's see as Byrne makes his way through into the S's then. So through the right-hander we go, and then into the left-hander now then. As the second tick by, as Lopez in fact has gone out onto the racetrack. So not Willows or Gal at the moment, which is a bit of a surprise. As now coming through the second bit of the right-hander then goes Byrne. As we look at the left-hand side tower, as we look at the seconds tick by, Willows and Gal need to hurry up. Willows has now gone out, so he's giving himself one more chance to see if he can try and get that improvement that he lacked earlier on thanks to the hold up, and Gal has also gone out on track as well. So we've got 4 cars who are going to be doing lap, 5 because Chatfield's just come out in the nick of time there. So 5 cars will be doing a lap before the session comes to a close. So Carr, Franco Garber, Motrin, Roke and Q-Pot, they are finished for today. So it's just Lopez, Gal, Byrne, Willows and Chatfield who just need to do a lap then. So, and now then comes up towards the 130R now then, so as he flicks the car in for the right-hander. And now making his way towards the Casio chicane, flicking it in through the right and then into the left-hander we go. Using a bit of curb on the outside as he will now start his final flying lap of Q3 now then. Hopefully there's no traffic on the right-hand side, as some of the cars who won't be doing a lap will just be trying to do some mileage. And luckily for Byrne, there is no traffic in front of him, so Byrne will get a clean lap. He goes around into turn 2, looking to see if he can try and improve on his 6th position, as he now makes his way through into the S's, through the left, then into the right, and into the next section of corners. The sequence of S's now then, past the Honda banners on the left-hand side there, as now into the near flat-out left-hander, as he'll now make his way towards the end of Sector 1. Can he go up on his personal best? Let's see, let's keep an eye on it. And he's only just down on his personal best by 72 thousandths of a second. So he can still recover that, but we'll have to wait and see if he can or not. But he's currently 72 thousandths down on his personal best in the first sector. Into the hairpin then goes the Irishman. As now they're going to make the way, he's going to make his way through this long swooping right-hander, through that little grandstand that's on the left-hand side there. And now making his way towards the spoon curve as the checkered flag has now come out, signalling the end of Q3. Out into the left-hander, then we go, goes Evan Byrne, making his way down the club pit straight now then, as Byrne will now make his way towards the 130R, and he's up on his personal best by 49 thousandths in the middle sector, so he is finding some improvement, but so far he's not going to gain any places unless he performs some kind of miracle in that last sector. Out of Casio then goes Byrne, through the right-hander he will go. Of course, this was the track where he got his first ever pole position in the OC back in 2006. Evan Byrne now then comes across the line, and he loses time in the last sector in fact, so he does not improve and stays in at 6th position, as we are now going to look at Miklos Gal, not Miklos Gal, that's a little bit later on. I don't know why I said that, it's probably because I saw a Red Bull. Franco Lopez, who's not up on his personal best, so at the moment he looks like he's not going to get pole. Franco Lopez, across the line he goes, and he does not improve, he stays in second, and Gal is up on his personal best. Can he get himself back into the top 3? Because I don't think he's up on Carr at this point in time. Through the right-hander then goes Miklos Gal, as he makes his way down the pit straight goes the Hungarian, as the Hungarian now then crosses the line. Where can he go? And he goes up to 3rd, gets back in front of Franco Garber. Willows is down on his personal best, he crosses the line, and he stays in 8th. So what could have been for Joseph Willows there really is Chatfield. I think it's the last one to do a lap, and he's down on his personal best. Chris Chatfield down the pit straight, and across the line he will go, and he does not improve. He stays in 9th. So after all of that, it is Amar Kar who's going to be on pole position for tomorrow's Japanese Grand Prix. So we're going to stay silent and let you see the pole lap from Amar Kar. And that is our Amar car. Took pole position for tomorrow's Japanese Grand Prix. A very good lap indeed. Came out of nowhere, really, given that Lopez topped the sessions for most of it. But the question is, can he make it 2 Japanese Grand Prix wins in a row tomorrow to try and cut down even more on Lopez? And can Mercedes even win the Constructors tomorrow? Well, if it were to stay like that tomorrow, then the Constructors Championship would continue for at least another race. But we will see. But it is Amar Khan on pole, with Franco Lopez in second, Miklos Gala in third, Franco Gamba fourth, with Roland Motra in fifth, Evan Byrne in sixth, then it is George Roke seventh, Joseph Williams in eighth, and then it's the 2 Alpha Towers with Chris Chatfield in ninth and David Cupart completing the top 10. So what do you make of that session overall, Ra?
Pretty much a fantastic lap by Almacar, got everything right so far. Lopez didn't have the best of Q3 sessions in. If you look at the gap between Lopez to the Red Bulls, it's like 79 thousandths between Lopez, Gal, and Gamba. So Gal and Gamba could have actually, one of them could have gotten the front row start, but they didn't, and they couldn't snatch it off Lopez. Lopez could have been starting fourth.
Yeah, but in the end, Mercedes still hold on to a front row lockout. Well, that has been it for the qualifying session. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, we've got no GP2 this week, so of course this is the last of the live streams for today. We of course don't do the commentary for the race because we allow George to do that for the highlights. But that has been it then. I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you all for watching. I've been JW97. He's been Ra, and we will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. BST for the 53 lap Japanese Grand Prix. Till then, take care.
Bye.